Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. And I want to wish you a happy V-Day with the Valentine's Day. So just in case, some of you guys are probably like, I'm not going anywhere, but I would like to learn something today. Well, then this is the live for you, because that's why I'm as sweet as pie. Yeah. So if anything, this is what I generally do. I take on some of the questions that you generally see on GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, the TEAS test, anything that has to deal with Algebra 1. And what I do is just give you samples. We look over some of the problems. We see how things go. And what you do, you put your answers into the comments, and then I go over it. I can't believe that's something that I do now, but here we are. That's what I do. So, for example, we have, what is the greatest common factor of 24x cubed y squared and 36x squared y to the fourth? So is it your A, is it B, is it C, or is it D? You put your answer into the comments and then we'll go over it. So I have a couple people. Hello. Okay, I have a couple C's. I have Jay with a C. Hey, welcome back, Jay. And we have Terry with a C. We have a couple people who are just joining in. Thank you so much for taking your time. I know, football's over. You're just like, okay, what do I watch now? Well, there's still basketball, guys. March Madness is right around the corner. So there's still stuff to watch, okay? And even the crazy of 90 Day Fiance, all that stuff, that's out there. So let's keep on walking. Hey, Shells is here. She's saying C. Is that Prush? Is saying D. Carlos is saying C. Yana is saying C. Okay, as people are coming in, thank you so much for taking your time. So what we're doing is we're just basically doing a little bit of algebra. Okay, a little algebra 1, a little bit of algebra 2. We're going to try to do some more of the factoring and also some order of operations. And if we have some time, might get into some little card action. All right. Okay, so we got our C's. All right, John. Okay, M. We're saying C. Mitchell, we're saying C. I got it. It's B. All right, well, let's take a gander. So when you're finding the greatest common factor, so you have to think of factors that were where you can actually find 24 and 36. So if I take a look at the 24s, I can kind of come right in here. So I know, where would I see 24s? Well, I would see 24s in the 1 times table. I will see it in the 2s. I would see it in 3s. I will also see it in the 4 times table. Not the 5s, but definitely in the 6s, in the 8s. All right. So what we're trying to find, what is the greatest common factor that both of them upholds? All right. So then we're kind of looking at, what else is there? There is 12. That's also another factor. And I think we can pause right there for a sec. So if we look at 36, where would we see 36? Well, we definitely will see it in the 1s. Definitely see it in the 2s. We'll definitely see it in the 3s. The 4s, not so much the 6s, but the 9s. We also see it in the 12s. And I think that'll be it. So when we take a look, yes, they both have 1s. Yes, they both have 2s. 3s, 4s. But then we have 12s. So we're looking for the I have no idea why these alarms keep coming on. So if you look at your answer choices, we have 6, we have 12, and we have 72. Now, when we're trying to find the GCF, yes, when you multiply, you can get that. But the greatest common factor that they have is going to be 12. Now, when we look at our x's, we have x to the third, which means x times x times x. We have x squared, which means x times x. Then we look at our y's. We have y squared, which is y times y. And we have y to the fourth, which is y times y times y times y. So now we want to take a look. So we want to know how many x's they have in common. So if I wanted to group them, I have two groups of x's that they have in common. For the y's, I have two groups of y's that they have in common. So since I know that the GCF, the greatest, so it's not going to be 6, well 6 is missing in here, but the greatest is going to be our 12. So that means boom, A is gone, boom, D is gone. So now it's between B and C. So now we have to look at the variables. So this has 3 x's, this has 2 x's, but they have 2 x's in common. The same with the y's. They have 2 groups of y's in common. So your answer choice is going to be C. All right? So when you're looking at the greatest common factors, you need to look at the factors. Where are you going to find these numbers? And I know I missed number 6 for 36. Don't ask me why. Maybe because I've been doing math all day. All right. Okay. So it's not going to be 6. Your greatest common is going to be 12. So let's take a look at our next one. So I'm going to be like kind of jumping around. So if we're looking at factors, because there were some things I wanted to show, some things I didn't want to show. Let me see if I can make sure you guys see this, because I'm trying to put into consideration. See if it's going in there. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, so I know where my magic part is. Okay, if you struggle with this take geometry honors. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. But remember, I have a lot of people that are coming in at different parts, okay, different parts of their academics. Some people are still in school. Some people haven't been in school since they were a fetus, you know, so it takes a long time for all this. Okay, so this is a place where you can ask your questions. If you feel that this is a little too slow for you guys, hey, guess what? You can scroll on by. There's no problems whatsoever. But I will greatly appreciate as you guys come in, just at least try. Okay, just at least try so we can break concepts down. All right, so now we're working on the next one. We want to factor this completely. So we have 50x squared minus 72. So is your answer going to be A, B, C, or D? Okay, so I got a couple B's. All right. Okay, hey, that's awesome that you're trying to get that GED. I don't care how many times it takes you. Hell, it took me 11 times to pass the praxis. But I wanted to do it, so that's what I gotta do. Okay, Zoom can't see it. You're probably gonna have to Zoom on your phone. Okay, because right now they're saying that this is how we can go through it. All right. All right. So we have some B's, we have some B's, we have some A's, we have some B's and C's. Midnight is saying B. We have our C's, we have some A's, we have some C's. It's B, y'all. Hey, good evening. Some C's, some A's, some C's, some C's, some C's, some A. All right. So we got a nice little mixture. All right. So let's see. Gonna have to factor both. Okay. Well, let's take a look. Anytime they tell you to factor, first thing that you need to worry about. One, you got to see if you have a GCF. Anytime they say factor this completely, factor that, find the factors, first thing you should always ask yourself, do I have a GCF? Is there something they have in common? Well, we have 50 and we have 72. So 50 and 72, they're both even numbers. So right off the dome, I know I have a factor at least of 2. And if I need to go a little higher, I can. But I know if I take 50 and if I divide that by 2, I'm going to get 25. And I'm going to bring down the x squared. If I have my 72 and I divide that by 2, let me put that minus sign there, I'm going to get a 36. So that's telling me I have a GCF, which is 2. So since I have a GCF of 2, that means A and D are both gone. Okay? So now I need to take a look inside this parenthesis. So I have my 25x squared minus my 36. Well, 25 and 36, they're called perfect squares. Because if I try to break it down, that means if I try to take the square root of 25, if I try to take the square root of x squared, and if I try to take the square root of 36, I'm going to get a perfect number. Okay, learned this yesterday in college, see? So this is what's happening. So since I know that this can be broken down, let's factor it out. So I'm going to have my 2, that 2 is going to come on down. So square root of 25, that gives me 5. So that means 5 squared, or just 5 times 5, will give me my 25. Now, the square root of x squared is x, because x times x will give me my x squared. You see how we're kind of doing it in reverse? Now, we have our 36. 36, that gives me 6 times 6. But we have a negative 36. So that means one answer is going to be positive and one answer is going to be negative. So that means this here, once I solve this, I know it says factor completely. That means this is going to be broken down even further. So boom, your answer is going to be B. Now, I know I have 5x plus 6, and this one is 5x minus 6. The parentheses are interchangeable. Okay, so you're basically getting the same results. Okay, thank you so much, you guys, for the follows and for the gifts. Thank you for your time and attention. Appreciate that. All right, so this is what we're doing with factoring. All right, so let me try to take it up a notch. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys are getting this. Now, so here we are. We have the factor completely. This time we have x to the 4th. Let me rewrite it for you. X to the 4th minus 16. What do you think? Is your answer A, B, C, or D? Kind of curious. Okay, 0, I got some A's, got a couple B's. 0, B saying A. Bond saying A. Jelly Roll's in here. Okay, got a whole bunch of A's, A. Okay, difference of squares, good job. So we got some D's, we got some C's, we got some A's, we got B's, D's, A's, B's, A. Okay, so since we have, okay, we have to the 4th power, and you're like, wow, what am I going to do with that? Very similar to what you did with the difference of squares. And you're probably saying, well, which one was the difference of squares? The one that we just did. Okay? Because square root of 25, that's a square. X is a square, and 36 is a square. And it's called the difference of square because you have a minus sign. All right? Minus, difference, very similar. So now, when it comes to this one, we can do very much the same thing. So instead of splitting just with an x, I'm going to split it with an x squared. So I know with the square root of 16, that will give me a 4. But since it's a negative 16, that means one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. So I know that we have this, and I know that the difference of squares we can break down. This x, or x squared plus 4, can't be broken down because we don't have anything called the sum of squares, not at this level. So this is going to stay exactly the same because remember the direction. It says factor completely. So this x squared minus 4 can be broken down. See, now a lot of people that says A's, they're like, wait, is it A? It's like, hold on to it. You got it. We can break this down again because we have perfect squares here. Square root of x, or square root of x squared is x. Square root of 4 is 2. But since it's a negative 4, that means we got one that's positive and one that's negative. This is your final answer. So the answer is B. Okay? Always look to see if you can break it down even further. Okay? Now, if they were both plus, yeah, you were done. Okay, hold on, I think I'm frozen. There we go. All right. How do I even understand this? A lot of practice. A lot of practice. Because after a while, okay, because since this is an even exponent, I know I can break even things so much easier than odds, okay? So if I have x to the second, x to the fourth, preferably x to the sixth, I can break them up into two things to make them a little bit smaller. Then I have to take a look of each of the parentheses to see if I can break those even more, okay? Not a problem. So this is why you want to actually take a look, because here you have a difference of squares again. So that's why I was able to split my x's, and that's why I was able to break down my 4 into 2 times 2. But since it's a negative 4, we got a positive 2 and a negative 2. Okay? All right? Okay? So, is this algebra? Yes, this is. So I know a lot of people are like, am I going to need this for GED? Yes. Am I going to need this for the ASVAB? Yes. Am I going to need this for algebra? Yes. Am I going to need this for algebra 2? Yes. Are you going to need it for geometry? Yes, because they like to put a little algebra into the geometry, mix it up, especially this time of year. All right? Okay? So if you want to, we can. Let's go to number 11. I know I'm jumping around, but I want to ease you into some of these things. I don't want you to just jump you right into it. All right? So now, which represents the complete factorization of x cubed plus 27? Ooh, now she's trying to be fancy. She's got the hair down. She's trying to be fancy. Okay? But let's take a look, okay? Let's take a look. So we have that x cubed plus 27. So is it A, B, C, or D? Let me see what you guys can do, okay? Oh, you can't break down, who said that? You can't break down the positives because there's no such thing as a sum of squares. The reason why, if you try to break it down with the sum of squares, you're going to get a middle term. Okay? I'll show you in a few what I'm talking about. Okay? All right, so I got a whole bunch of C's. I got some B's. Whoa. I got some D's. I got whiplash. I got B's, C's. I got a person with A, B, C, and D. Now, if you're not sure what it is, put a question mark. Okay? That also helps me to see how much full-on detail do I need to give. Okay, so Courtney B, Miles B. Okay, so BB, Lucy A. I see you. Thank you, Travis. I think it was Travis. I'm not sure. Is saying with a question mark. All right, Sarah with the C. Study Bud with an A. Okay, we got some C's. Mav, I see you. Thank you so much for the question marks. Eminem, I see you with the question marks as well. All right. Okay, so we got mixtures of B's and C's and a couple of A's. So I didn't see too many D's. Okay, which is very interesting. So now, this one is a step up. For all of my people that are taking their GED, this is a 4-point question. Okay, remember, everything goes in a series of questions. 4-point questions you do not want to miss out on. These are the questions that if you've taken the test before, you skipped. And then you wonder why you didn't pass it. You can't skip these, okay? So this is the format for dealing with cubes, okay? So the first parenthesis, I'm going to put them in A's and B's, is going to be addition. The second parenthesis is your A squared minus your AB plus B squared, okay? This format is for when your original is addition, okay? Now, if your original was subtraction, let me see if I can put that over top just a little bit. Just going to use this part. If original was subtraction, it will be A minus B. Then you would have your A squared plus your AB plus your B squared. Okay, so you're going to take a look at the operation that's been given to you. If they give you plus, that means that first parenthesis is going to be a plus, and you're going to have a minus for after the first term. If it said minus, that means your first parenthesis is going to be A minus B, and then everything in the second parenthesis is going to be addition. All right, so this is how we tell the difference. So we're going for this bad boy. So you're probably saying, well, what's going to be A and what's going to be B? Well, if we take the cube root of our original information, so if I take the cube root of x cubed and I take the cube root of 27, the answers of these are going to represent my A and my B that I can plug into this formula. All right, so don't leave because like, oh man, this is really hard. This is probably going to be that 1 or 5 point question or 5 points that you need to pass a GED. Just trust me, okay? Seen it, been there, doing it. Now, cubes and cube roots, they're inverses of each other. They cancel out. Here, I'm leaving, peace out. But you're still with me. You're still watching. So cubes and cube roots, they cancel each other out. They're inverses of each other. So what's left is x. Okay, 1x, x, same diff. So now we need the cube root of 27. So we got to think, what number multiplied by itself 3 times is going to give me 27? Okay, Nando, thank you. All right, Betty, thank you. Wow, all of a sudden a couple of people. Dev, thank you. All right, is that Tavia? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's not going to be 9 because 9 times 9 is already 81. That's past 27. So it is going to be 3 because 3 times 3 gives me 9 and 9 times 3 gives me that 27. So we know the cube root of 27 is 3. So with this bit of information, every time I see an A, I'm plugging in an X. Every time I see a B, I'm plugging in a 3. So let's do it. So using the formula, we have A plus B, so that means we have X plus 3. Just knowing this information, going back to my answer choices, I'm seeing X plus 3, so that means D is gone because it says X minus 3. Done. Then we have X plus 3 cubed. Well, I know that I'm going to have 2 parentheses, so it can't be X plus 3 cubed. That's gone. So now we're looking at what's happening in the second parenthesis, right? Okay, people are starting to see it now. There you go. So for me, I know I'll be like, oh, okay, well, if I'm going to have a second parenthesis and I know this formula, knowing that this next term here is going to be negative and this one's negative, but this one's positive, I know that it's going to be A. But let me show you just in case, all right? So my A squared is going to be my X squared. Remember, every time I see an A, I'm plugging in an X. Minus A times B. So that means I'm looking at X times 3. Well, x times 3, that's 3x. Plus my b squared. My b is 3. So 3 squared, that gives me 9. Ladies and gentlemen, we just did the sum of cubes. And I know cubes is tough, especially for us in the States, is because we're so used to squares. We're so used to squaring things. We're so used to looking at square roots or radicals. But then once we start doing some advancing, especially you'll see it either late Algebra 1 or definitely in Algebra 2, it's like, wait, I have to think. Okay, so that's understandable. All right, so this is how you do the sum, because we start with that first parenthesis or start with that first plus sign, the sum of cubes. Okay. Okay, yes, I know, because we're so used to seeing squares. So that's why I did see a lot of people say 9 when I was doing the other stuff. Totally get that. All right, okay, so how are we doing? Okay, thumbs up, thumbs down. Trust me, not going to make me cry much. How are we doing? Okay, rationalizing things. I already have my set stuff. I'm going to try to do as much as I can. Trying to shoot for like an hour and a half as best as I can for tonight. You're learning as you go, okay? Getting some thumbs up, got some thumbs down. Okay, this is more like algebra because it is Algebra Builder. Come on, genius, let's go. All right. Okay. So let's take it slightly up a notch. Any calculus? No, that is not my forte. Okay. Yes. Do not with those. Okay. So, going to do another factoring one. And then I'm going to try to get another 4-point question in for you guys. Okay. Trying to get as much of those as I can possible. All right. Any recommendations for calculus? What do you mean? Like a person, a tutor? I don't even know if they're on TikTok anymore. I used to like have my friend Robert. I think he was like the AP math guy. Sometimes he's that. Yeah, tutors that can help. Yeah, if anything, message me because I definitely know some people. So plus I can get an idea of what are you thinking of a price range, what are you thinking about, your preferences. So I could sit here and be like, oh yeah, I got this one. Mr. M is another person that's on here as well. So, there's a lot of people, okay? All right, so let's get with this one. So we're going to factor, we're going to take it up a little bit. So we did factoring when there was a GCF. We did a little bit of factoring with, we did a little bit of squares and cubes. But we have 2x cubed minus 10x squared minus 48x. Okay? This doesn't hurt your brain. It's activating your brain. Okay? There's only so many cat videos you can watch. Okay? And slightly more bigger. Okay? Say, TikTok is always telling me that my stuff is way too big. And now, everybody's like, I'm going blind. Okay, does this work for everybody? Stimulated. All right, it's okay. How are we doing? Much better? Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone. Because sometimes TikTok, I think, lies to me. Because they're like, no, this is the mobile screen, and you should fit it right here so you can put everything in. I'm like, dude, I don't know. All right, no problem. So sorry. I think there were some other people that said that earlier, and they're like, I'm out. All right, so 2x cubed minus 10x squared minus 48x. Is your answer A, B, C, or D? All right, so we have a bunch of A's and A's. Jenny! Say A. Got a D, got a C, got a question mark. Thank you, Robin, for your honesty. Okay. Geraldine, we got A's, we got D's, thank you, Robin. Okay, J Bud, yes, no clue. Thank you, kid. Appreciate that. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for being open enough and honest to say, you know what, I don't know. Like I have no clue. But guess what? You got someone here that's actually showing you. All right? So we got to remember, there's a lot of people that are in here that basically are still in school, and some of you guys haven't been out of school since you were, what, born? So now we're kind of going through this. All right. So here we go. First thing, I see 2, I see a negative 10, and I see a negative 48. Right off the bat, they're all even. So if all of them are even, that means there is a GCF that needs to come out. I'm coming out. Okay. So 2, 10, and 48. What? Why are they even? 2, 10, and 48. They're all even numbers. So what number do they have in common? Robin, got you. We got a common factor. Yes, that's Ingrid. Appreciate it. George, whoa. Impact, yes. Here we go. All right. So we definitely have a positive 2 that needs to come out. So that's for the coefficients. Now we got to do it again for the variables. This one has x cubed. Let me bring this down just a hair. Okay, this one has 3 x's. This one has 2 x's. And this one has 1 x. How many x's do they have in common? So if I line them up, how many they have in it? I think that's Tanisha. Okay. I'm sorry, it was like half mix, half in. Okay, so they all have 1. Whoa. We all have 1. It was like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Felt like I was in the Matrix. Okay. So here's the easiest way. If every term has the same variable, always use the one with the lowest degree or the lowest exponent. Okay? Will never steer you wrong. So if you're just like, do I have to do the x thing? Not all the time. So if you see that there's x cubed here, there's x squared, and there's x, that means they all have at least 1 x in common because that's the one with the lowest exponent or degree. So now, knowing that, that's going to be your GCF. So that's why D is completely out. It only has the 2 out. So now, I'm going to take that GCF and I'm going to divide it with the original expression. So when I divide, I subtract the exponents. Okay, so I can fill in my parentheses. So 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. X cubed divided by x. When you divide, you subtract the exponents. So that's why this is going to be x squared. Because 3 minus what's assumed to be there is a 1. 3 minus 1 gives me 2. All right. So now we have a negative 10 divided by 2. That gives me a negative 5. We have x squared divided by x. So we have 2 x's here minus 1. That gives us 1x that's left. All right. So now negative 48 divided by 2. So this will be a negative 24. And x divided by x, anything divided by itself is 1. Okay? So they basically cancel each other out. All right, how are we feeling? How did I decide it was 2? Because I need to find the greatest common factor. And since all of them are even, it's probably either going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, so forth. But the lowest term is a 2. So the only thing that they have in common in each of their multiplication is going to be 2. All right? All right, why cancel out? Because x divided by x, anything divided by itself is 1. And then the 24 times 1 is just going to be 24. All right. So now, inside the parenthesis, we need to break down. Okay? So how can we factor what's going on in here? So let me slide this over just a tad. So this is when we start doing the AC method. So some people probably know it as you multiply your first and your last two terms, which gives us a negative 24. And you rewrite your middle term, which is a negative 5. So now, this is the hardest part. This is why you need to know your multiplication facts inside and out. So we need to think, what two numbers multiplied will give me a negative 24, and the same two numbers added together to give me a negative 5. Let's see what we got. Yes, find factors of negative 24, add to give me negative 5. Yes. To me, we got negative 8 and 3. AI, so Greg, negative 8 and 3. Goon, negative 8 and 3. 6, 3 and 8. Negative 8 and 3. 8 and 3. Okay, Ingrid's giving it to me. Bonkus. We're saying 8 and 3. Okay, we have negative 8 and 3. Negative 8 and 3. There we go. So, negative 8, positive 3 will give me negative 24. Negative 8 plus 3. So if you owed me $8 and you paid me 3, that means you owe me $5. So that's why these two factors work great. So we're going to split our x's, 1x here, 1x there. Then we're going to find the numbers, the factors that we just found. We're going to put them in each of the parentheses. And then we cannot forget to bring down our friend. All right? So even if you wrote, say, positive 3 here and negative 8 there, that's fine. Okay? It's multiplication. It's going to do themselves together. All right? So there's my answer. So as many of you guys have said, probably from the very beginning, the answer is going to be A. All right? So I like to break it down as best I can. I know a lot of people are like, I said A like a million years ago. Okay, you look great for a million years. And I know it's all kinds of crazy. But I like to take things step by step. And again, you know, it's too much. Is that FOIL? FOIL is when you're multiplying your binomials. Okay? We're doing the inverse. That's what factoring is. Factoring is the opposite of the distributor, or the inverse of the distributive property. Am I a teacher? Yes. I was in the classroom for 22 years, and now I have my own online tutoring business. Is that sum and product? So we have our two products or factors, okay, that's dealing with our original. Okay, actually, your exponent in the original will tell you how many factors you're going to have. So since my highest degree was to the third power, that means I should have 3 roots or 3 factors, which we do. One, which is the 2x, another one, which is the x minus 8, and the other one, which is the x plus 3. Okay. All right. So let me see if I can find another problem. I think I'm going to try to do this one. Okay. So, using the AC method, I mean, we can, but I really want to touch on some other stuff. Maybe, I could probably see if I could do 1, 2, 3. I'm going to try for 3 and try, huge word, to see if I can get some radical work in here. Okay, so here we go. You're saying A, bro? All right, bro. All right. Factor by grouping. This is another one. Another 4-point question for GED. Definitely there in the ASVAB as well. When you are doing Grouping, factoring by grouping. You know you're going to be doing factor by grouping without them saying this. They might just say factor. But anytime they give you 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, you're going to factor by grouping. So, thank you. Oh, thanks, Courtney, for the flowers. Appreciate the roses. Which one do you think is your answer? A, B, C, or D? And if you're just like, yeah, don't know. Don't know at all. Not a problem. Put the question marks in. I got you. All right. So we got some A's, we got some C's, got some B's, a lot of question marks. Thank you so much for your honesty. Okay. Apple user. I see you in the oh, geez. This is like flying through. Oh, maybe because there's over 900 people in here. Duh. All right. Cautious. I see you. Thank you so much. And welcome back. All right. So we got all this. DR. We got you. All right, we got some A's, we got that. Do calculus. I do not do calculus. Sorry, not the right platform. All right, so we got some E's, obviously, with A. All right, now, let me break it down to you. So we have 4 terms. So we're going to factor by grouping. That means we're going to group some problems together, so some terms together. So I need to bring it down just a lot. There we go. Running out of desk space. So we're going to group the first 2 terms and we're going to group the last 2 terms. Hence, grouping. All right. So we're forming a band here. We're trying to get the group together. So we are going to look at each of the parentheses. Let's see if I can find my small slips of paper. So we are going to just take a look at that first parenthesis. So the first parenthesis, we want to find the GCF of each parenthesis. Okay? So taking a look, just in this parenthesis alone, what do they have in common? What do they have in common? All right? So I'm seeing some X's, I'm seeing some X's, 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 I'm seeing a 2X, I'm seeing a couple X's, X, 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 X. Man, that would be an interesting movie. So they both of the terms have an X. So if we factor out the X, so the X, take it, snatch it out, put it to the side. What's left over? Okay, what's left over? Still with the X's. It's still flowing with the X's. So if I take the X's out, what's left? Thank you, Riley. And a whole bunch of people after that. Okay, we got some John. We got Harper. We got a whole bunch of people with that. Good. So we said our Y plus 3. Good. So if we factor out these X's, what's going to be left is Y plus 3. So now, let me cover up and let's work on the other parenthesis. So now, for the other parenthesis, we have negative 4y minus 12. What do they have in common? Okay, the x plus 3 is not an x plus 3 because we factor out the x's. What do we have in common? So I'm seeing some 2's, I'm seeing some 3's, I'm seeing some 4's, negative 4's. I'm seeing y's, both negatives. Okay, I'm seeing the y, Scarlett, I see you. Okay, Hose Lover. You guys' names are hilarious. Okay, both are a factor of 3. Careful. Okay, so here's the thing. I know a lot of people see the 4 and the 12 and you're like, answer is 3. Because I know that 4 times 3 is 12, 12 times 4 is 3. True. But I want the factors. Thank you, Lou. I want the factors. So 3's are not found in the 4 times table. No. Okay? So what they both have in common is a 4. However, like some people are saying, both of them are negative. So why not get two birds with one stone, right? Exactly, Shannon. Thank you. We're going to make our 4 negative. Pull out the negative, pull out the 4. So this is what's happening. You're going to take that GCF of negative 4 and you're going to divide it by everything inside that parenthesis. So a negative times a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Thank you, Don. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1, and it'll give me 1y. Okay? Negative 12 divided by negative 4, that gives me a positive 3. Because a negative divided by a negative, when the signs are the same, your answer is always positive. There you go. Thank you, Lorenzo. So, we factored our original. Why do I take out a negative 4? Because negative 4 and negative 12, so let's break it down. So when I look at 4s, I got 4, 8, 12, okay? For my 12 times tables, I have 12, 24, we can keep going. The least common is going to be 12, okay? So I know I can get some 12, oh, sorry, doing this wrong. I'm fast forwarding way too much. So if I look at the 4 times table, I have 1s, 2s, 4s. For the 12 times table, or for the 12s, I can find it in the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s. I can stop right there. What do they have in common? They both have a 4 in common. That's what your GCF is. Now, since both of them are negative, pull out the negative. Okay, that's why we made our GCF negative 4. But then, I know people are like, oh, this is too much work. Suck it up, Buttercup, if you want to pass that GED, okay? If you want to raise those ASVAB scores, this is what you're going to have to do. So now, what do you notice? What do you notice about this line right here? Put it in the chat. What do you notice? Okay. Yep. Am I live? Yes. I hope I am, because it would suck if I'm like in here. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Same variables, but what else? The same parentheses. Yes. So, taking a look right here. The parentheses are exactly the same. Okay? The parentheses are exactly the same. When you're doing grouping, that's exactly what you want. Every time. Every time you're doing grouping, that's what your goal is. I want these parentheses to look exactly the same because this is going to be my GCF for this line because they both have my y plus 3. So if I factor out the y plus 3, what's left? Okay, so a couple people, is the answer A? Is the answer A, Audrey? Is the answer A? Is the answer A? Oh, thanks for the hat. I know, I was trying to get the hat. Okay, so I'm seeing y minus 4, I'm seeing x minus 4, x minus 4, x minus 4, minus 4, x minus 4. Yes. All right, so we're looking to see what's left over. So what's left over is this x and this minus 4. They can be their own parenthesis. Okay? All right? They can be their own parenthesis. All right, well, thank you. All right? So when you're doing grouping, anytime they give you 4 terms, group the first 2, group the last 2, and ask yourself, what is the GCF for each of the parentheses? Okay? Once you figure out what the GCF, pull that bad boy out. What's left stays in a parenthesis. And the goal is, when you're doing grouping, you want these parentheses to be exactly the same. Now, when they're exactly the same, that means they're going to be the GCF of the next line. So if I factor out the y plus 3, whatever remains gets its own parenthesis. That's where the x minus 4 came from. So now, lo and behold, yes, the answer is A. And if they're not exactly the same, you need to relook. You need to readjust. Or you might not be able to factor it. So if it's something like, let's say for instance, this part here. Say that you had a negative y minus 3, like you didn't pull out the negative. And you notice everything's the same except for the sign. Well, then factor out the negative so you can get the same exact parenthesis. Okay? If they're completely different numbers, different variables, that means you can't break it down using graphing. Okay? They're not going to be over extra and then making you take the derivative and all this stuff. No. For those examinations, they're not. For the classroom, for people that are still in the classroom, you might have to do so. But I'm looking at people that are doing the GED, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, maybe even whole school. Okay? All right. Know where to start. Well, once they give me 4 terms, I know I'm going to be grouping them in 2. Hi, Spock. Okay. All right. Can you tell I used to play the double bass in high school? Yeah. And you should see the distance between these two. Ugh, it's disgusting. How welcome. Okay. What about the college math placements test? Yes, this is in there too. Definitely. I'm muted. How am I muted? Okay. Yeah. I know I'm not. Because trust me, I'm not touching anything. So this is also the same person that's like, say the numbers. That's what happens when you get to here. All right, so there is one more concept that I want to break down that it seems like a lot of people always miss. And like when I'm saying always miss, I'm saying especially for the GED. And I'm going to see if I can do radicals as well. But this Mama Jama, a lot of people always miss this. Okay, slope. Okay, what grade is this? Right now, this is a test that I just made up for people to help them pass with the PERT. But I noticed that a lot of the concepts that I was using was the same stuff that's on GED as at ACCUPLACER, so here we are. Okay, now, can't see the full problem. I will try my best to get it all in there, okay, because it's going to be on this. Use chat for? Well, you can't use chat, dear heart. All right, so find the slope of the line passing through, and I'll even rewrite the numbers, passing through -2, 5, and 4, -3. Okay? We need to know what the slope is. So is it A, 4/3, B, -4/3, C, -3/4, or D, 1? What do you think? You remember this? Okay, good. All right, good. Dedulia. We got B, S is saying C. All right, we got C. Got follows. Thank you so much for the follows, guys. I greatly appreciate it. Okay, I just want to basically help people. I want to help people get past their math phobias. I want parents to feel confident enough to help their kids. I don't want to keep seeing these memes of parents doing, I'm tired of those, okay? Sick of it. I think you guys can definitely do it. I used to hate math. Absolute with a passion. Fractions, definitely not. Word problems, hell no. I wasn't doing any of that stuff. And then I just started to keep doing items, okay? I just started to keep practicing it. And then I was an instructional assistant at a local school, And one lady told me that fractions is nothing but division. I was like, huh, what else do I not know? And then go all kinds of crazy. Yeah, statistics can be a little bit. Okay. PDE. What is PDE? There's so many things. I know, word problems, definitely. But I'm trying to help break this. Can I be your teacher? Yeah. No, I'm not going to the classroom. All right, so I have some mixtures. Again, if you don't remember it, remember, do the question mark. Okay, do the question mark. Okay, wait, you're so confused? Not a problem, I'm here. Mu, it's not going to be that formula because we're just looking just at slope, not the equation line. But you're thinking, which is good. Yes, okay? So we're getting some B's. We have some B's. Got to watch the negatives. Yep, that's it, Jenny. There we go. Okay, we have some D's and B's. We got some question marks. Thanks, King, for the honesty. We got some C's. Okay, we got the question marks. Again, my period, it's not going to be y equals mx plus b. That's the equation line. We just want the slope. Okay, close, Danny. Just flip them bad boys around. And you got it. Okay, there you go, mama. Appreciate it. All right, Paige, yes. Geez. Because of the demo negatives. There we go. So, let's take a look. We don't need to complicate this. All we need is the slope. So, the formula for slope is as such. It's basically the change of y's over the change of x. All right? So, this is what's happening. Since we read, here in the States, we read from left to right. So, since this is the first point that I see, this is going to be my x1 and my y1. So, I'm saying that this is the x and y for the first point. Those are what those little ones are for. Now, we need to have our second point. So this is going to be my x2 or x sub 2 and my y sub 2. This is the x and y of the second point that we're going to. All right? So we can do the change of y over change of x two different ways. So the traditional way is as such. I'm going to put it down here, which is your y sub 2 minus your y sub 1 over your x sub 2 minus your x sub 1. So all we're doing is plugging in the right numbers in for the right spots. So our y2 is a negative 3 minus your y1, which is a 5. Then you do your x2, which is a 4, minus your x sub 1, which is a negative 2. This is the part that screws a lot of people up. This is what we have to kind of break it on down. Okay? Now, once you plug everything in, this is what a lot of people generally do. They just see 4 minus 2. They think that this negative takes the place of the minus sign of the original formula. No, it doesn't. You're only substituting. So if I'm playing a basketball game and I'm getting the sub, I'm not subbing for the ref, even though there may be times you should be, but I'm not subbing for the ref. I'm subbing for my teammate. Okay? So all of my teammate got to go in. Most of my teammate gotta go out. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Did I get it? Yes. All right. So, had to do that puzzle piece thing. That was hilarious. Okay, so you're only substituting in for that x1. So when you minus a negative, it turns positive. So this is really 4 plus 2. All right, so we have negative 3 minus 5. So negative 3 minus 5, that gives me a negative 8. And 4 plus 2, that gives me a 6. So now I know I have a negative answer. I'm going to have a negative slope. So right away, A is out because A is a positive 4/3. I know that D is out because it's a positive 1. Okay, process of elimination. So now I need to reduce 8, 6. What number does 8 and 6 have in common? It's 2, because 8 and 6 are both even numbers. Yes, who said that? Betty. Thank you, Betty. So we're going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by that common number. So that's how you reduce your fractions, my loves. So we have negative 8 divided by 2, that gives me a negative 4. And I know once I see that negative 4, my answer should be B. But let me finish it out. So we have 6 divided by 2, that gives me 3. Okay, so you have a negative 4/3, right? So the part that you have to, definitely new to algebra, the only thing you know is simplify, you should be buying my books because I have some books on sale. Okay, but the thing that gets a lot of people is when you substitute a negative number, you should always put parentheses around it so you know that you're substituting in a negative number. All right. Okay. Yes, I do have a website. I'm going to explain all that in a moment. Just want to get some more math in. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, there's another way of doing this. So we're so used to going from right to left because that's your y2 minus your y1. Your x sub 2 minus your x sub 1. Well, guess what? You can also do this using, let me see if this pen works, your y1 minus your y2. Since we normally read from left to right, especially us in the States, why not do your math from left to right? I bet you cold hard cash, you're going to get the same answer. So my y1, we got our 5 minus our y2, which is a negative 3. I know that 5 looks crazy, sorry. Then we have our negative 2 minus 4. So when you minus a negative, they turn positive. So negative 5 plus 3, that gives me a negative 2. 5 minus negative 3, negative 2 minus 4. Okay, so then we have negative 2 minus, what did I do wrong? All of a sudden I'm just having a brain fart. This is too much math in one day. Oh, so then we have our negative 6. That should not be happening. What did I do wrong? So we've got our 5. Oh, why did I make this 5 negative? Man, I need to go to bed. I've been tutoring since 8 o'clock this morning. All right, here we go. I was like, why am I making this 5 negative? It's crazy. All right, so now we have 8 over negative 6. So if I reduce it by 2 again, this is going to give me a positive 4, and this is going to give me a negative 3. Now, when you have a negative slope, all it takes is just one, either the numerator or the denominator to be negative. Okay? It's going to be exactly the same thing. Okay? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Oh, I'm going to explain all of that in a moment. All right, so be careful of your signs. You just saw an example of it. Okay, so be careful of your signs. Now, one more with this, and then I want to do one more thing, and then we can skedaddle. All right, so which equation represents a line with the slope of 2 passing through 1, negative 3? Okay, which equation represents a line with a slope of 2 passing through point 1 comma negative 3? There you go, Ethan. Now you can use it. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for the follows, guys, and for the attention. I know this is not easy. It's not easy, but you guys are doing amazing. So again, if anything, you go ahead, you can follow me here on TikTok, and I'm actually going to show you some other places just in case you need some examples. Okay. All right. Okay, we got you, Michelle. Some people got it. Some people need a little extra time. We got this. We got plug in the numbers. We got some A's. Okay. Thank you, Joyce. Appreciate it. I love the spelling of your name. Okay, so we have Mama. We got A. Okay, Danny, we got A. We got some question marks. Thank you, boy. Appreciate it. Yep, point slope form. There it is. All right. So we have some B's. Okay, so we have between A's and B's. All right, so we got some A's, we got some B's. Different kinds of things. Indonesia, well, welcome. All right, so it seems like A's and B's. Okay, we got a nice little battle going on here. Funky Monkey is saying it's A. All right, Promo is saying it's A. L World is saying it's A. Okay, B is wrong. Okay, well, we're going to see. Let's take a gander. Okay, so they are telling us, and we can do this one of two ways. So I like to show options. So since they want to know an equation, so representing the line. So the equation of the line traditionally is y equals mx plus b. Your slope represents the m. Your b represents what's called the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. So if we take a look, they're giving us a point. So they're giving us an x and a y. And we can use that point to find the y-intercept so we can put the equation of y together. So now, yep, GCSEs. So now we're going to plug in, just so we can find our b. We can plug in the negative 3 for the y. We can plug the 2 in for the slope, the 1 for the x, and we can bring down the plus b. I'm going to show you both ways. So I know some people are like, wait, it's okay. So now we're going to solve this for b, so we know what the y-intercept is. So 2 times 1 gives me 2. So we have negative 3 is equal to 2 plus b. So if we want to get b by itself, that means that 2 needs to go to the other side of the equal sign. So we always do the opposite or the inverse of a positive 2. So negative 3 minus 2, or negative 3 and negative 2, that gives me a negative 5. And I bring down the b. So my y-intercept is going to be a negative 5. So my equation of the line, my slope is 2 minus 5, which is my y-intercept. So we have 2x minus 5, which gives us A. That's one way of doing it. The other way is called the point slope form. So you have basically the equation for slope cross multiply. So that means you have your y minus your y1 equals your m times x minus your x1. I'm going to slide this over for a second. Using the same information. So this is point slope form. So if everybody's like, where did the point slope form ever come from? Well, it's the equation of slope if you take this and you cross multiply, you're going to have your y1 minus your y2 equals your m times x1 minus x2. Let's just cross multiply. So now they gave us the slope. The slope is 2. That's where we put our m. They gave us a point. This is our x, this is our y. But it's for the y1 and the x1. So you have y plus 3. And why is it plus 3? Because if I substitute a negative 3 for the y, a negative times a negative gives me a positive. Then we have x minus 1. Distribute this 2 to everything inside of its parenthesis. So then you have y plus 3 is equal to 2x minus 2. So we want to get y by itself. So what we have to do is subtract the 3, because the inverse of addition is subtraction. Bring down our y, bring down our 2x. Then we have a negative 2 and a negative 3. That gives me a negative 5. So notice you get the same exact answer. Okay? Yes, they definitely use the point slope more so than the the slope intercept form, especially when you get into more advanced classes, because it gets you to your equation a lot quicker. And geometry, they use that as well for finding the tangent line. Okay. Okay, yep. So it all depends on, oh, no problem. It all depends on what exactly you want. All right, so this is a lot of math. Lots of math we have done today. All right, one is the factoring. Definitely need to do the factoring, regardless if you're doing your GED or any kind of high school equivalency test or Praxis or ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, TEAS test. You're definitely going to be seeing all that, as well as anything dealing with slope. So if you are trying to get your GED, I'm going to tell you, those 4-point questions, this is what they are. Listen up. It's like anything dealing with slope, like this question that we had for number 19, this one, that's a 4-point question. Finding the equation of the line, that's a 4-point question. Finding the slope of parallel and perpendicular lines, that's a 4-point question. Graphing a linear equation, 4-point question. Graphing linear inequalities, doing system of equations. Either you're doing it by graphing, you're doing it by substitution, you're doing it elimination, 4-point questions, straight across the board. Any kind of factoring, finding the GCF, doing factoring using the AC method, factoring by grouping, any kind of factoring, boom, 4-point question. And anything dealing with volume, and usually they do volume of a rectangular prism, volume of cylinders. Those are their favorites. Those are 4-point questions. People that are taking the ASVAB, which is that military test, if you see volume, you're doing really well. Okay, you're in the 60s. Okay, so you need to get past your distance, rate of time type questions. You need to get past of going from a fraction to a percent to a decimal, scientific notation. If you can get past that, then they'll start talking about slope. And you need to get past the slope in order to get above that 31. The 31 cutoff is once you start seeing slope, you're doing very well. Okay? Distance, rate, and time, I would, but I'm not going to do it tonight. But if anything, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in a second, where you can go. How does it differ? It really doesn't differ, boy. Thank you for asking. Because the people that designed these tests, I don't know, whatever. For the people that designed these examinations, the exams are basically the same. A lot of the word problems, what they do is instead of talking about Mary, and another one for ASVAB people is the age questions. Mary is X years old. Susie's cousin is 5 years younger than Mary. John is 2X years old. What's the age of Mary? Tons of those questions, okay? GED, there might be one or two of those, but ASVAB, they love those type of questions. And the distance, rate, and time questions, they love those, okay? Right? So those are big ones. They also have some probability questions for both of those exams. Now I forgot what I was talking about. How everything's it's very much the same. So instead of saying that Susie is trying to design her garden, they're saying a sergeant told a private to go build a garden for They just do the name change, especially for the arithmetic reasoning, which is your word problems from the ASVAB test. That is just a lot of reading. Sometimes it's just a matter of what is the math that's in it. Underline those bad boys. On the second try, there you go. Good job, Sophia. Appreciating you. All right. So my whole thing is, the reason why I do a lot of these exams or a lot of these things, because I want you to not feel the way that I felt when I was a kid. I had to learn and teach myself, because my mom would say, go to your dad, and my dad would say, go to your mom. When it came to algebra, even to this day, my mom's like, I don't know where you got this gene from. And I'm like, it's not a gene. I had to learn and to break it down. You sucked at math, I sucked at math, straight up. And now look at me, I'm a math teacher. Don't ask me how it happened. I have no idea. All right. But this is what you can do. So if you go here, okay, go to this part. I have all of my recordings for all these TikTok lives from February 2nd of last year to, I think I have to put up yesterday's. I forgot to do that. Sorry. Been pretty busy. So if you go there are times I'll do questions like I did today, various type questions, but there are times that I will actually break down factoring. I will actually break down a lot of those 4-point questions. Okay, so if that's where you want to go and you want to look at some stuff into practice, go ahead. Please follow me here, follow me there. Also, you can go here because I have a lot of books that I've produced. Because a lot of people are like, how can I get my extra practice problems and all this stuff? So I decided to build a whole series. And the name of the series is Algebra at Your Pace. So what I did was I basically took a lot of my notes, and I'm actually going to show you how you can access it. So what I did was I took a lot of my videos. Let's say properties of exponents, right? So I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to my camera, and I'm going to, as best I can, you guys can't see this. Okay, so I'm going to scan the QR code, and then this little YouTube comes up, so I'll click on that. And then you get an instructional video. Sorry, there's a light in the way. Okay, so I am breaking down
to another edition of
all of this.
Tutoring, I get.
Okay, so the video will come up, and you're going to actually take notes, just like you were in class, just like it's a tutoring session, right? So you can sit there and take notes. The videos is usually 20 minutes long. I know, it's long. You know how long-winded I am. You're here. So you can take down all your notes, I also have practice problems, so now you can put all your practice problems in one section. And after you do it, remember, you can pause it, you can fast forward, you can rewind it. It's basically you have me as a tutor and anytime that you want to do it. Hence the name. Algebra at your pace, because everyone is not at the same pace. When you're taking these classes at the community college, it's like this. You basically have 12 weeks to shove all this information in your brain, and you're trying to figure out, how am I going to do this? I got kids. I got a full-time job. I try to do as best as I can when I have a holiday, like, how Monday is going, so you can get all that. Then you're given extra practice problems, nothing too overwhelming, but very similar to what you're going to see in the actual test with the answer keys in the back. And towards the end of it, you're given a summative quiz just based off the stuff on this volume. And on top of it, you're given some resources. So I give you, let's say for the first one, I give you the rules of integers. If it's been a minute since you've seen them, how to add, how to subtract, how to multiply, how to divide. Also, fractions, how to add, how to subtract, multiply, divide, fractions. Then decimals. This is all in that first one. So I'm giving you all these resources. You call them signed numbers. There you go. Then also, this is huge for all you guys. Percents to decimals, fractions to decimals, percent to fractions, and so on and so forth. Okay, all of that is there. Order of operations, or if you're my international people, you got, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and I'm not sure what the phrase that you guys have, BODMAS, but then also your properties of exponents. This is huge. All right. All right. Then also, when you're doing factors, I use this a lot with my tutoring kiddos. So when you're looking at factors, let's say factors, since we're here, 60. So my factors of 60 is 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, okay, 5 and 12, 6 and 10. But if I'm ever breaking down, let's say, radicals or square roots, I give you the hint. This will help you with that perfect prime combination, so you don't have to keep running around and guessing. Okay, all of it's listed. Now, most places will give it to you up to 100. I got you all the way to 200 because I know I have kids that are doing all the way up to Algebra 2, and that will be helpful to them. Also, the whole listing of your perfect squares, square roots, cubes, cube roots. Also, word problems. Remember we were talking about that? What operation is representing which word problem? They're all listed here, okay? And even those properties of real numbers. We still do these in geometry. Yes, we do, especially when we're doing proofs, all right? So it kind of goes across it. And then for the first one, I also give a lot of my flashcards. Let me raise this up a bit because that's crazy. All right, so I give you guys some flashcards so you can practice on your exponents. So here are my rules. If you want, you can rip them out. You can laminate them if you want to. But then here's the problems on one side, and then this is on the other side. Is this the American syllabus? Yes. Because it's just me. I'm here in the States, right? So you have all of these. If you want to rip them out, you can rip them out. If you want to make copies, you can make copies. And then this is what I end up doing. So here's my whole bunch. Let me get rid of that. Okay, that broke. Okay, so you have your 4x raised to the 0 power. Hopefully you know anything raised to the 0 power is equal to what? Put it in the chat. Anything raised to the 0 power is equal to what? Is this for middle school or high school? It's for middle school, high school. Dion, thank you. 0 and 1, good. They're Misty, good. Ty, we got 0. Okay, yes. Monkey, yes. Jen, here we go. Beans. All right. Anything raised to the 0 power is 1. Okay. This is why I do these, because a couple people said 0. But we all know anything it starts, it always has a start. The start is uno. Okay, number one. Okay. Wow. All right, so if we have anything raised to the zero power, everything inside this parentheses being raised to the zero. So that will give us 1. So this is how you can kind of quiz yourself. So if you want, you can probably say, all right, what will be the reversal? Well, maybe not this one. But what will be a good how to solve this one? So we have like 81x to the 6 over 27x squared. So which age do people learn this? It's usually like, I think it's 5th grade. But here's my thing. A lot of people, based on their situations, some people have to leave school because they have to take care of their siblings. I've known a lot of people that had to do that, that never graduated from high school or didn't even make it past 8th grade. So some of those people are starting to say, you know what, I want to get my GED. I'm sick and tired of working like 4 dead-end jobs. I'd rather have one job, and the only thing that's holding me back is my high school diploma. So that's the main reason why I do all these things, because I don't want math to be the barrier. I don't want people to be afraid of going to their next part of their lives because of math. Okay? And you'd be out for a while. So when you break it on down, you can break it on down. So it's kind of like, that's why I do a lot of these cards. So that's why you can like laminate them if you do have a laminator. I also have this formula. What's this formula represent? Yep. What does this represent? Okay. Right? And it is. It's really getting the whole. So it is a geometry. It is a geometric. But what is it for? What is it? It's not pi. It's not a cylinder. It is volume. But it's not a cylinder. Yes, pi is involved. No, not a sphere. Not a sphere. There we go, miss. There we go. There we go, Billy. There it is. Okay? It's a volume of a cone. Okay? The reason why I know, if anything, if I take off this 1/3, I'm going to get pi r squared h. Now, pi r squared h is the volume of a cylinder. Okay? Because it's always the area of the base times the height. So the area of the base is a circle. Most of the time if you have a circle, it's going to be involving pi. So pi r squared, which is the area of the base, times the height of your cylinder. But if I take 1/3, that means if I cut out one, we're only going to focus on 1 out of the 3. That's when we got a cone. The same exact thing happens when you're doing with a pyramid. Yes, baby. I know. Now I got my cat yelling at me. Okay? So it's like these are some of the formulas that you'll see. So another thing will be, what is this? Let me get rid of this for a second. What does this mean? Okay. Hey, John, how are you? Okay. Tony think it's complementary. Okay. Right angles. True. But there's 2 of them. If 2 things add together. Okay, Billy's saying complementary. Okay. And if you're not sure, put a question mark. That's fine. All right, so we got that complimentary. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your honesty, John. Thank you, Al, for your honesty. Appreciate you. Okay. To me, I've never seen that. Okay, not a problem. You changed your mind? Okay. Billy's not sure. Why is everybody changing their mind? C, not S. Yes, Jenny! Yes. So these are complementary angles. Okay, so complementary angles are the measure of two angles that will equal 90 degrees. Okay, the other ones that we look at is our supplementary angles. Supplementary angles equals 180 degrees. Okay, so like I have shown in the past, we know complementary begins with a C, supplementary begins with an S. If I draw a line to connect the two ends and I continue on, I got a 9. So complementary angles are both 90 degrees. If I try to connect my two ends for the S, that'll give me an 8. So supplementary angles are equal to 180 degrees. All right. So this is other things that I have. So much. So much. So not only do I have for the Algebra Volume 1, I also have, and that's for like the basic if you have just wanted to start. Then I have my functions, ratios, order of operations. That's my Volume 2. If you struggle with solving equations, 1-step, 2-step, multi-step equation, distributive property, having the variable on both sides of the equal sign, all of that is in here for Volume 3. Volume 4 is dealing with your linear equations. Are you solving, basically, are you graphing? Are you doing the slope-intercept that we did earlier, the point slope? All of that is in there. Okay, then we have our inequalities, our system, so system of equations and inequalities as well as absolute values are here. And then the other one that I just released, which I haven't gotten the book yet, literally released it yesterday. Volume 7 and 8 is like when we're looking at those functions and we're looking at radicals. So we have those. We also have like the formulas that I just showed you, like all the cards that you can. Again, if you want to print them out, you can take them out the book. You can just make like little flashcards with it. And also the other one, which is starting to sell quite enough, is dealing with the match cards when you have to do evaluations. Okay, so when you have to do any evaluations, and all of them do have an answer key. Okay, so you're not by yourself with all of these things. What's the substitution? Here's the simplifying, dealing with the order of operations, and you can develop matching cards. It'll be great for homeschooling. It'll be great for classrooms, you know. And then you have like your solutions in the back, and of course there's an answer key that people can basically look up on. All right, and then this side, sorry, had the solving. I had to flip it on the other side for the other stuff. Okay. So this is just a small tidbit. There are tons of other books, and you're probably saying, all right, Audrey, I'm sold. Where do I buy it? Definitely, the link is in my bio, and this is the price list, so I'm not showing anything. If you have any questions and you want help with tutoring, so my tutoring is $87. I'm not going to shade you. It is totally worth it if you're looking for the investment. But again, remember, you have the videos at my other thing, the YT, remember? You can definitely go there and just, if anything, subscribe. It's a free subscription, right? And also you can follow me here because sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not. I can't get a schedule because I have a lot of people that needs tutoring. So I try to jump on in TikTok as best I can. I spend more time. Okay, so you just grab whatever book that you want, that you feel that you're going to need more assistance with. But if you're just like, I need to start from the very beginning, all right. Because most of these books, you can see it through the A. If you don't know what the A is, it's the brown box with the smiley face. You know, there's like a rainforest named after it. You know what I'm saying? They will take it like directly to it. Okay. But I also have digital copies. So if you're just like, let me try with digital copy first, let me see how that goes, then you can go through the digital copy through me. Okay, so that's all of my algebra at your pace. So it's at that $12.99, or you can get any of my variety flashcard books. I have some for multiplying, for dividing. I also have some dealing with the cubes and the squares. The cubes and the squares. So if you need to practice up on your memorization of the cubes and the perfect squares, I have those, and also the square roots and the cube roots. Okay, you found it? Awesome. Right? So you can definitely take a look, go through all of those things. That will kind of help you out as well. All right? So that's what I got. Now I'm exhausted. But if you have any questions, even if we're not friends and there's like a friend request, send the message, because I'm always going to look at it. It's going to take me a little time, but I always look at them, always respond back to them. So if you're serious about, like, I don't know which book to invest in, or should I even buy a book, Audrey, or should I just go straight to your tutoring? Ask the questions before you buy. I want you to invest, or I want you to buy stuff because that's what you need. Don't just buy willy-nilly. I don't like that. That's why I'm not on TikTok Shop. Okay? So, ask questions before you do any kind of investments. Are you able to print the digital copy? Of course. Yep. And once you get the link, and always, that's one thing I want to say. If you are going to do the digital, here's my key thing. Look at the thank you page. That's where the link is, okay? Make sure you click and you save it, and then boom, it's yours. Have fun with it. Do whatever you need to do. Enjoy, okay? Please use it. Don't just purchase it and it just sits somewhere. I want you to purchase. I want you to hear that, oh, this helped, or this didn't really help me. Talk to me. I'd rather have that. Algebra, and then on simplifying. Okay, perfect. So if you're in algebra and you're simplifying and you need extra practice, this is definitely the book for you. Okay, let me upgrade that. Okay, because this will definitely give you more practice with it, because you have like the simplifying piece that's usually like here in the back. Okay, so and then plus it upgrades it. So it's not just basic ones, it's mixture. Some of them basic, some of them are advanced. But if you want to, you can, for simplifying, that would be like for volume 2 if you think you're good. If you're better, if you need to start from the very beginning, start from the very beginning. Okay, if you need study materials, dear element, now for more information. Okay, so here's my thing, Sophia. Please, I don't mind sharing my platform, but if anything, definitely talk to me first, because I know I wouldn't go on anyone else's platform and start performing anything on someone else's, okay? I would greatly appreciate that. All right? Okay? Just talk to me first. I mean, more than willing, because I have like a list of people that if you guys are thinking and you need more assistance, and I feel that they're really awesome at their craft, I have them here as well. So, Impact Math, okay, if you're not following Miss Evelyn or Miss Taylor, definitely follow her. You know, she also does GED, ASVAB, and TEAS testing as well. So if you're thinking about going into nursing and you need help with dosage calculations, you can do a Blessed RN. Okay, if you need help with chemistry, this is the time of year that a lot of people are like starting to see a little bit harder stuff. So if you need help with chemistry, make sure you hit up with Professor TK. And if you just want to learn how to learn math a little bit more, trying to be a little more inclusive, go ahead and check out Learning with Lynette. Okay, she is basically trying to transform the whole world of abacus, taking it more modernized. It's just amazing what she does there. And then also, I got my friend Andy. He does also watches. If you love watches, my thing is okay, but he does watches things, so you can follow him as well. All right, but if you need these guys for academic help, please definitely take a look. Anything for engineering. I don't really know too many engineering people here on TikTok. I have to keep looking. Okay, but if you're also, and I forgot to put him down as well. Mr. M. If you need something for calculus, because I don't know. So he does a lot of pre-calc and calculus help. Okay, let me add him in there real quick. Okay, and he's here on TikTok, Mr. M. So if you ever want to get something a little more advanced, that would be a great place to start. Okay? No problem. Hey guys, I'm surprised there's 171 of you guys still here. I don't know when you came, but if you're here the whole entire time, God bless you. But thank you so much for your time and your attention. Computer science. I don't think I know anybody for computer science. That's a great question. If anything, if you follow Professor TK, ask her. Because she's got to know some science people. Okay? All right? Not a problem. So if again, you're trying to get, maybe you're trying your college algebra. I've been helping a lot of people with that. The ASVAB. I really think, not just because I sat and created these books, I really do think that these books can help you, because it's not just a regular math workbook. You actually have me and what you do is when you purchase, like, say, a volume, you get all the instructional videos. So like this one, if I scan this one, you'll be able to get all of the videos for this volume. And then if you want to get a detailed of all of the answers that's in the book, I do sell that. Okay, that's like $5.99 upgrade, like $5.99, not $5.99. That's cray. All right, but every book always gives you some kind of reference. Every book always gives you some kind of like something to help you with your next steps. There's always resources. All right, so if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. All right, and I would love for you guys to enjoy the rest of your evening. I can't believe I talked for almost 2 hours. I'm ready to pass out. All right, so I will probably see you guys sometime tomorrow. I'm not sure because I do have a crazy morning, but I might be able to come on in the late afternoon, early evening. So I will try to do more of the radicals and maybe just throw in some other great stuff. All right, so have a great, okay. Didn't find your answer. All right, have a great evening, everyone. I know it was like kind of hard to see. I think some people... Okay, how do you find Mr. M? Just do a search on TikTok. It's literally Mr. M. That's what his name is. Okay, so you can do a search on TikTok. No problem. I just want to make sure I'm not missing. No problem. So any kind of questions for tutoring, for anything else, just send me a message. And and please, if you do send a message, don't just say hi. Tell me what your message is, because if it's a hi, I'm gonna automatically delete it. There's too many stalkers. Okay. All right, everyone. Have a great evening. And what color is your Bugatti? I don't even have one, babes. Shit. If you can buy it for me, have fun. All right, everyone. Have a great evening. Take care.